answer is coming.
Star-Lord.
Finish him! Hadouken! Fatality.
And welcome, guys, to the Free Your Geek podcast.
Hey.
This is episode number 37. I don't even know how to pronounce it when Wolverine pops his claws, but that's the title. I'm not going to even do a bad job doing that. So welcome, everyone. As you can see, we've kind of decorated the studio a little bit. We got our logo on a little screen in front of us, and we'll be sending some other pictures as we're talking, just so you can have an extra viewing option instead of looking at these ugly mugs.
Hey. Speak for yourself, brother.
I'm including myself, gentlemen. So let's first introduce the gentleman to my direct left for those. And I've been saying this a lot. I forget that we have audio listeners, too. So if you're listening on iTunes or Podbean or Stitcher, we also have live video on our Facebook page. So check out that. But I want to just say, first and foremost, hello to my original co-host, the OC, KB.
What's up, brother?
What's up? How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, man.
Good. I'm going to, hold on, they're going to be playing around with this. And
excited for this show?
Yeah, I'm super excited, and I just want to make sure. We are. We got it going on, man. This is going to be a great show because we have a lot of things to talk about today. But before we do that, I want to introduce
the People's Geek.
The People's Geek, the Don. So KB and I were talking.
All right.
And we decided.
This is why I'm excited.
We decided that you're actually not really part of the group.
Oh.
Yep.
What happened?
We're X-Men. You're kind of like
you're one of the New Mutants. If you're so, but now you're graduating.
Or maybe you're X-Force. You're a little bit outside of the X-Men.
That's what I was thinking. I was running with Havoc's crew, but that's it. I've switched sides.
So officially welcome to the podcast, sir. I love that. That's so awesome. So welcome. Thank you for helping set all this up and helping us reach greater heights with this podcast, man. And
love this podcast.
Is it really even a podcast now? I mean, we do have the audio version, but we're also live streaming video. So
it's a Facebook live cast.
Yeah, I'm not going to even worry about what we call it. But
we're borderline a TV show.
We got a lot going on right now. So do we want to first kind of jump into the thing that we did last week where we kind of drew the names and take a look at the bracket real quick?
March Mayhem?
Yeah, we're going to call it March Mayhem. I call it the CBCC, the Comic Book Character Contest. But, we have all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to pull this up on screen. We're working with all kinds of crazy new technology, so I want to see how this translates to the screen. If anybody, and you'll love the artistic rendering I did with the bracket when you see it.
He is incredible.
I just want to make sure, that you guys can hear me, which I think you can. I'm making sure that the audio is coming through too because I had to set this up. But for those that are watching this, again, I had to throw this just in a PDF format. But last week we drew names and I randomly seeded them. So let's just quickly give a premise of this. Everybody else, comment on the video. Leave us comments after the video. You don't have to do it via live. Send it to us. You can email it to us or leave it on our Facebook page. Leave a comment. Vote on which team you think should move on. So we're going to just kind of run through these real quick. We'll start with the top left, and we'll go through the left side of the tournament, and then we'll take a look at the right side. But I'm just going to pull it up on my phone real quick so I can actually read it, because as I mentioned, I threw it on a regular PDF, and when you start typing in the names, it changes the font sizes.
I saw that.
It's not great. As the lists condense, we'll obviously make that a little bit better. But our first matchup, Spider-Man and Wonder Woman versus Magneto and Lobo. Now, just from our opinion, what do we think? So we'll start with Don. Which team do you think has the edge?
I love the ferocity of Magneto and Lobo, but the resiliency of Spider-Man and Wonder Woman teaming up, I don't know. I call that dead even on my part.
No, I think Spider-Man, Wonder Woman. Magneto and Lobo, I can't see them getting along.
Yeah.
Magneto has no tolerance for people who don't listen. So I just see that backfiring on them.
I'm going from the other route because I'm saying if Lobo can keep Wonder Woman busy and it's just Magneto and Spider-Man right now at the time, one-on-one, I got to give it to Magneto because Spider-Man has a lot of metal on his body. He's iron in his blood. If Magneto is feeling very vicious at one point, he can just Spider-Man and...
You know what I got to say to that, though? Spider-Man's a genius too.
That's
He can
very
come
true.
up with some anti-magnetic matter and just like rope Magneto right up.
That's very true. So I guess we're kind of we don't know. We so going to the listeners of the podcast again. Comment on the Facebook video. Leave us a comment. Shoot any one of us if you're friends with us on Facebook. Just shoot us a message and tell us who you would pick for each of these, and we'll tally them all up. Next week.
I don't think of these matchups like that. I think of it with just the basic skill sets.
Whew.
You know what I mean? So I try to get away from he could come up with this, he could come up with that. I try to think of it as like, no, they're going to battle now. And
Okay.
you know what I mean? So I don't think of it that
That being
way.
said, I already know the next matchup who Don's going to pick, but we have Mr. Fantastic and Deathstroke versus Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, and Aquaman.
Come on. My boy Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, killing it.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
Aquaman, very, very weak to me. I know you're an Aquaman guy.
Aquaman is not weak. People that's oh my god, so stereotypical. He talks to fish. Aquaman is badass, dude. I know.
But Captain Marvel and just the powers that she has, it's so overwhelmingly powerful. She's somebody that could go toe to toe with like a Superman and a Hulk, and you know what I
But-
mean, and a Thanos. So
Opposite could Mr. Fantastic
Fantastic.
kind of reverse that. Big brain
That's it.
stretch.
Big brain.
Also, Brian Carvalho already saying Spider-Man, Wonder Woman for show. So
You
all
know
right.
it, Bri.
All right, so he's
Brian.
getting the first official vote
That's
there.
it.
Our next matchup is actually two of my favorite villains of all time.
yeah,
And this is interesting. The Juggernaut and Sinestro versus Thor and the Joker.
Oh, man. In this scenario, I got to give it to Jugs and Sinestro.
yeah.
And I love Thor. And I love the Joker. But, I mean, when it comes down to just, like, it would be like a 2-on-1. Thor would be going up against Juggernaut and Sinestro. What's Joker going to do?
But Thor is a god.
He's a
so
guy, I know.
It is kind of even. And if you think about it like this, right? Who else is a trickster that Thor knows? Loki.
Yeah.
So they're not that far off from getting along
True.
in combat and knowing how each other works. So that could work to their advantage as well.
Well, let's just say in a fist fight, right?
In a fist fight.
If Juggernaut can kind of at least keep Thor busy, this is what I'm thinking of: Sinestro and the Joker. Now, how does the man who uses fear as a weapon get in the head of the Joker?
I don't know. I think he'd be afraid of the Joker a little bit.
Would it be like it's kind of like when Batman picked up one of Sinestro Corps' rings and he
Yeah.
was
It's-
the epitome of fear. He used that to crazy
It's fear versus fear and might versus might.
So I'm a big I like the Juggernaut, but I don't know if he could beat Thor.
You know what's crazy? We have a lot of people saying the Thor Joker team.
So
I think so because I think Thor is very overpowering to those other two.
all right, so that's interesting. So let's go back to the bracket here. This is going to cause me to do a lot of work toggling back and forth here. This is another amazing, and I love the way it worked out. We have Venom, the Eddie Brock version of Venom, and Kal-El Superman versus the Green Goblin,
Not the Topher Grace version.
not the Topher Grace version, the Norman Osborn comic book version, and power suit version of Lex Luthor. So what are we thinking there,
All
gentlemen?
right, I gotta say, this team right here is my favorite team of the Green Goblin and Lex Luthor. We have supervillain powerhouses. It's a shame that they got to go against Superman in the first round, but I feel the two of them with their superb technology will find a way. They will find a way. They'll end up turning Venom against Superman. It could happen.
But if the symbiote takes over Superman, that symbiote Superman would be pretty wild. Can
That
you
would.
imagine Venom with all of Superman's powers?
But would he be able to get his power from the sun covered in the symbiote suit?
Very
There
true.
you go.
Very true. If it's so, it'd be a borrowed time
Yeah.
type of thing. But again, so I look at it as Lex Luthor and Superman. I'm always picking Superman. But you mix the Green Goblin with Lex Luthor, put those two minds together, as we've mentioned.
Yeah.
And then you put them against Venom, who has
Kryptonian bombs
but weakness. Both of them. Yeah. So think about this: the super team of Venom and Superman. One's weak to fire and ultrasonics, and the other one's weak to kryptonite, which we know Lex Luthor has in spades. So Very interesting matchup there.
I like that one.
Let's go back now, and that takes care of the left side of the bracket. Let's go up to the right side. And again, for people that are only listening to the audio version of this, go on to facebook.com/freeyourgeekpodcast. Like the page. You'll be able to vote on this every week. We're going to keep going back and forth, and we're going to keep dwindling this down until we have one team left. But going back up to the top right, we have a very unique team with Storm and Bane.
Oh.
Luchador Bane, as we mentioned last week. So we get the Luchador mask, the Venom infused with the Venom power. Kyle making asking a question. What's the scenario? Is this the world depends on it? We're just gonna say that all these heroes and villains get taken from both the Marvel universe,
Like a contest of champions kind of thing.
kind of like a contest of champions, but they're put on a neutral world. Do we want to say to the death, or is it only until you incapacitate? Because some of these people would be vicious enough to kill.
I don't know.
I say, you know what? If the villains would kill, they would kill. If it's a hero, obviously they'd
To
incapacitate.
victory.
Yeah,
So
relevant.
it's on a
Yeah,
neutral
victory.
world, but all things considered, the yellow sun is still going to power Superman. The technology is still going to be, there. Like if, for example, Reed Richards needs to make something, he's still going to have access to all of his, the parts
Gadgets
and pieces and gadgets that
Yeah.
he would need to create. So, let's say it's a neutral world and whatnot moving forward. But Storm and Bane versus Jean Grey version of Phoenix, not Dark Phoenix, regular
Just regular.
Phoenix.
Notice how a lot of our matchups really match up well. With
Yeah.
like here we have X-Men versus X-Men, villain versus villain, Batman villain versus. So it's like a lot of our matchups worked out like that, which was pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
and I mean Phoenix, and I keep forgetting to switch. So you're going to see me go back to the computer. I keep forgetting to switch back to the live feed and the image. I got to get used to doing that. But yeah, so Storm and Bane versus the Jean Grey Phoenix and Solomon Grundy. Team can't die.
Team can't die all day.
Yeah.
I love Storm to death, but the Phoenix is one of the best characters I've ever seen. I'm not talking about X3. I'm just talking about 90s X-Men cartoons. I'm talking about video games. Jean Grey is just a powerhouse.
Just pure power. Yeah. I don't think there's really much competing with that.
I mean, I'm in the same boat. I mean, Storm is extremely powerful. If this were Bane and Solomon Grundy going at it, I don't know, but I think Phoenix is just that much more powerful than Storm.
I think it's like Thor in the last matchup of
Yeah.
like Thor's kind of a little overpowered.
I also want to
Compared
just
to
give a
others.
quick shout out to Johnny Leather. Chuck Norris is not in this tournament, so he will not be partaking. He could be the referee. He could watch everything go on.
Chuck Norris's eyelashes could take everyone out. That was for you,
That's
Johnny
also
Leather.
very true. Also very true. Let's go back to the bracket now and talk about the second matchup on the right side. This is Mystique and Cersei, which is our all-female team,
Yeah.
versus Doctor Doom and Shazam, formerly known as Captain Marvel in the DC world. Billy Bastion, I have to...
So trickery versus power.
Right. So, illusions versus... Did that really happen? Did I really see that? Versus Doctor Doom, again, who's a sorcerer, and Shazam, who is basically
Doctor
imbued with...
Doom is essentially a god now.
So I
too,
think Doctor Doom can take Cersei. I think he can keep her busy.
But then Mystique against Shazam.
Okay, so let's
I
say
really
I think, and I don't want to say Mystique is the weak partner here. I just think she's very good at subterfuge.
But can Cersei summon
yeah, why
creatures? So it's
not?
a tough one.
But Doctor Doom.
I look at
Yeah.
it like this. When you're using two characters that, we're looking at them as trickery. They play Doctor Doom like, wait, who?
But Doctor Doom's also incredibly intelligent enough to see through a lot of that, though. I would
Right,
think.
and Shazam's the muscle.
yeah.
play
And-
the muscle against,
I mean, so even if it's Doctor Doom and Cersei, then you get Shazam against Mystique. Mystique is powerful. She's a killer. She's deadly. But can she take Shazam?
Okay, so if Shazam is keeping Cersei busy while Doctor Doom takes out Mystique, then
Or maybe-
I think you're in a better position for those
yeah,
two guys.
I don't know. Or what if they get the drop on Shazam before he can transfer his power, and
Yep.
he's just before he can turn into Shazam.
I was thinking of that too.
And then it's just Mystique and Cersei versus.
Well, think
Dr.
about it. If
Doom.
he's going into combat, he'd probably change form before combat anyway.
Right, but what if Mystique,
They cheated and they.
What if Mystique gets the drop and morphs into Doctor Doom, thinking they're on the same side? You don't know. There's a lot of things that Mystique can do. But in my opinion, I'm going to go Doctor Doom and Shazam for this.
Yeah,
one.
same here.
Going back to the bracket, our next matchup, second to last matchup here, is probably my favorite of the matchups that were randomly seeded here. Captain America, Steve Rogers, and the Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, versus the Hulk, Bruce Banner, and Bruce Wayne, Batman.
Team Bruce.
You're going Team Bruce. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying Team Bruce.
Oh, Team Bruce. I thought you were going Team Bruce there.
Okay, so I think the matchups are probably a little obvious, right? It's probably would be Green Lantern versus Hulk, I would think. Right?
Green versus
and
Green.
Batman versus
But
Cap.
that's it. That's if they could
So-
team up. What if Green Lantern just put a globe around the Hulk and then threw him, 6 miles away or
Into
whatever,
space?
Into space, just threw him into space, and it's Batman versus Captain America hand to hand with Hal Jordan on the outside using constructs against him.
It could happen.
It's a tough one.
I mean, as much Captain America is by far to me he's just the best. So
I
I automatically want to say that team, but it's Batman. You're having him go up against Batman.
Yeah, but the hand to hand, like Batman, we always think of Batman's detective skills as part of his.
Batman's one of the greatest hand to hand combatants in the world.
But they both are. So
I still give the edge to Batman. I'm a big Batman fan, but I get him against Captain. Just if it's a straight up fist fight, I'm going Batman because Batman's taken more time to study. I mean, Captain America's learned a lot.
Yeah.
And you're more well versed in the comic version, so I don't know.
Well, Batman on the flip side will have more gadgets and things of that nature.
Very
as
true.
Well, to take advantage.
But again, if Hal Jordan just decides to make a big green brick wall, like how many
Yeah.
gadgets is going to get through that?
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm saying just Batman versus Cap.
Okay, John saying, "Damn right, Batman." John, we're trying to keep it PG. I appreciate the passion. But Corey, what's wow, Corey.
Oh,
Don, do you want to take
man.
this one?
Damn you, lumberjack! Listen, Captain America is what every man should be.
Or aspire to be?
That's it. Oh man, what
So-
are you, Team Bruce?
Team Bruce. Well, again, let's just say what if Batman has a contingency plan just to keep making the Hulk madder and madder, and just to keep annoying him?
Yeah. But at the same time, you made an amazing point right off the rip. Green Lantern throws him in an orb and just flies up and sends him into outer space.
Or his willpower. What if he just shackles Batman down and keeps him, against the ground? Again, Batman, his detective skills, his ability is being an escapist, and just being able to kind of get out of predicaments. How would that work against Hal Jordan? We've seen Batman punch Guy Gardner in the face, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering. Again, this is all going to be up to you folks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To the
But
fans
what
and
if
the
Batman
listeners.
does something to mess with the power ring?
He could.
There
What
you
if
go.
what if he causes Hal Jordan? He does something to kind of threaten his willpower and deplete his willpower for some reason. He makes him doubt himself. Then the ring's kind of useless.
Yeah, if you tick Hulk off enough and he's rampaging, that might instill a little fear and
Yeah.
you might lose a little willpower. So it's a good matchup. That's a tough one.
Speaking of good matchups, let's go to this is
final
another
one.
good one. The final matchup in the bottom right, we have Team Iron Flash, Tony Stark Iron Man, and the Barry Allen Flash versus the man we're going to be talking about today, Logan, Wolverine, and Cyborg. And I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about this a lot. Flash is probably my favorite DC hero, and Iron Man is amazing in Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
What if Cyborg reprogrammed Iron Man and turned him against the Flash, and then it's 3 against 1?
Well, what if Tony Stark as Iron Man did the same thing to Cyborg?
I don't know. Well, see, I don't
Hacking
know.
into Cyborg.
I think Cyborg is going to be a better technician. I think he's going to be a better hacker than Tony
I
Stark.
get something for that though.
I don't
Flash
know.
just runs back, brings
Runs back
time
in
back.
time.
He runs back in time, destroys them in their sleep, and while they're still in their parents' wombs. Like it's just over.
It's funny to feel like this, but Wolverine's almost kind of the odd man out.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know how far the brute force would get him. I know you have the healing factor and everything, but how far would it get him against these 3 guys?
Okay, well, what if Wolverine got close enough to Iron Man and unleashed his adamantium claws on the armor? Then what happens?
I mean, I feel like Iron Man would have a plan in effect for this. I mean, there was Hulk balls.
Okay, here's a question. So what if Iron Man his suit's not made out of vibranium, is it?
No.
So, because I was just thinking antimanium versus vibranium.
Yeah.
Like, what would happen
Nope.
in?
Adamantium is gonna cut through that like butter. Not vibranium. I don't know which one's stronger. I can't remember off the top of my head.
They only but even in animated series, like when Wolverine and Cap went at it, I mean, he put a scratch in the shield, but the shield wasn't hacked in half.
Correct.
So, I mean, but the point I was trying to make is with Stark going into this battle, knowing who he's fighting, that's another thing that we haven't really discussed. Do these people know who they're going up against? Because if they do, then Tony Stark's ready for it. He has the suit.
Always has a
ready.
plan.
Good question. Good question. Let's
Always
just
has a
say that they all know who's going to be there, but they don't know who they're going to be fighting at the time of the battle.
Okay.
They know who all the combatants are going to be.
Yeah.
But they don't know who they're going to be fighting until it's time of the battle.
Specifically?
Yep.
Okay, but still, like, I mean, think of like Stark in the movies.
Yep.
Like, he just called the suits in, hops out of one, jumps.
Yeah.
to
What if
another,
he
Hulk
brings in
Buster.
like
So-
40 suits in?
I want to say this to the lumberjack real quick. How could a man with a name for chopping down things and cutting things hate on Wolverine? I just got to say that.
Oh my god!
And that is a great. Matthew says great point, Don, and I also
Matt's
agree.
an awesome dude.
And Casey is very pumped for the movie. And she doesn't mean the movie that we're creating right here as we're talking about
No.
our combatants. We're talking about Logan, which we'll be getting into very shortly. So just to kind of wrap it up again, take a look at the bracket. We'll release this bracket on our Facebook page. We'll pin it to the top so you can go ahead. If you want to comment on it, comment either on this video, which we're getting a lot of comments in now, or comment on each matchup on our Facebook page. We'll tally that up. We'll have by, what do we say, like Tuesday night at 9 p.m.?
I think so.
I think
Tuesday
that'd
at
be good.
9, so we can tally it up Wednesday morning. Actually, let's just say Wednesday night at 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do this Thursday. We'll tally it up
Yeah.
Thursday morning before the show, and we'll do it
And we'll
Thursday.
see what the next round looks
And then
like.
we'll set up the next round, and we'll go from there. And share this with your friends if you want them to vote in, and maybe somebody's kind of be losing out. And then as we dwindle down, we're going to be creating a little bit more polls and whatnot, so people can vote, and you can actually see how the voting is trending. And you can share the videos with your friends and other followers to kind of get them to vote on it too. And then, as I mentioned, if we mentioned this last week, of all these brackets right now that you see on your screen, pick one of these teams. Which team do you think is going to make it all the way through to the end? Because if you pick that team, you send it to us and say, I'm picking this team to go all the way, just let us know. Whoever correctly picks the team that makes it all the way, we're going to put all those names into a hat, pull one, and then we'll do a little giveaway or a special prize for you. So feel free to share this with your friends, have them vote to make sure the team that you pick wins.
That's it. Woo!
So thanks, everybody.
Exciting.
This is round one. We'll get to round two with the winners next week. We'll talk about that next Thursday at 6:30.
Nice.
And it just works out that every week we'll have a new round, and we'll keep dwindling it down. It's kind of like a March Madness, but we're calling it March Mayhem, and I call it the CBCC, but that's fine.
It sounds like a Russian hit squad. CBCC.
Yeah, well, I have no retort to that, sir. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Logan. So we got a movie
Psyched.
coming up. We got a movie coming out tonight, or technically it's out tonight, but it'll be tomorrow. That's kind of cool. Throw that up. We have the Logan on the TV screen in front of you here. You'll see that momentarily. There you go. I think the video. I'm saying this as I'm watching the video go over. You guys are already seeing this by the time I'm talking, so pay no attention to me. This is a ramblings of a madman here. Logan, the last time Hugh Jackman is going to play Wolverine that we know of, or so
Yeah.
he says.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys know this. It came out kind of recently too.
And this will be the last time.
Okay, step on my.
But
step
no, I
on
was
my.
going to say, I haven't even read anything. I'm just, this is the last time Patrick Stewart will
That's
be.
what I was going to say. You kind of just stepped on.
And
my
I didn't even
story.
read anything. I just assumed that.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart has gone on record saying this is going to be the last time he's playing Professor Xavier. So this is going to be I'm
A goodbye,
wondering-
a farewell.
So I have not read anything about the movie other than that interview with Patrick Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to pose a question to you guys because it's been heavily rumored. I don't know anything, so could be potential spoilers here, but I don't know. Do we think we're going to see him in the yellow costume at all?
I don't think so.
Nope.
Do you think they'll reference it at all, like in Suicide Squad with Harley Quinn's
Maybe a flashback.
gesture? So will we see the costume, him in the costume, or maybe the costume hanging on the wall or in a corner somewhere?
What I gotta say is, I don't think they're gonna do that. This costume right here.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think it's gonna be the yellow and blue. I think it's gonna be the even further back, the yellow and brown. It
Oh,
seems.
I love that costume.
Or in the movies, or being movies, it may even be just like the first time he put on like the X-Men uniform from like
Yeah.
the first movie or something like that. I don't know if they're gonna.
I don't think they're gonna go all '90s cartoon.
Well, and the
Yeah.
Lumberjack makes a good point. The Lumberjack just jumped in here and said he would play Logan again if they do a cross with the Avengers, which is very true.
Yeah, cool. I read that too.
But I just think with Fox right now, with their rights to the X-Men, which includes Deadpool,
Yeah.
because they made a killing on Deadpool, I don't think they're doing anything with the rights unless they do
The trade-off thing.
like they did with Spider-Man. I mean, it's doable, but I don't know.
And by the time they get to that, he's gonna be, I think, much older. I mean, you're talking. Even if it does happen,
Yeah.
he'd probably like 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if at that point he'd be.
Yeah, but even if it's just for like a one-off, like you like, again, let's just say the Avengers are fighting, I don't know, a bigger threat than Thanos. I don't know who else is a bigger threat than him, but then you just see like Wolverine in the background coming off and cutting off somebody's head and just like whatever. He's got the cigar in his
What
mouth.
about
Sorry.
like the Secret Wars, stuff like that, or like the Skrull invasion,
They could do something like that.
where like the first
do-
Avengers get taken out.
right. Who do you trust?
Yeah.
You know?
That's really
We
cool.
bring in the
That's
second Avengers. Say we get the Fantastic Four in, like the new Avengers. We have the Thing. Then look, we already have the Netflix stuff. So we have Luke Cage. We'll have Iron Fist. We'll have Wolverine. We'll have Spider-Man. Like we'll have like the next.
I
Avengers.
think we're all hoping for some grand plan at the end of towards the end of the MCU, but I really don't see it all coming to a head
No.
the way we'd love it to. But
I
never
agree.
know.
It would be great to see X-Men versus Avengers.
Yeah.
I don't know if Lumberjack's referring to me or another mutual friend, but I don't know if I should take offense to that.
That's you.
That's me. What's
gonna be?
what's
He'll
I
be
have
Jeff Old.
I'll be I'll be Jeff Old by then. He'll be wow.
Oh,
You know what,
man.
Lumberjack? I used to like you, and I'm not even gonna. Your Geek Gasmic channel on Twitch. I don't know if I'm gonna shout it out anymore.
Not gonna give this.
It's and it's Geek Gasmic with threes instead of e's.
He's like, you just did.
that's what I'm doing, bro. That's what I'm doing.
Nice.
So messed up.
Okay, so we think no to the costume.
No to the
There's also been a rumor going around that there's no end credit scene, like a post credit scene. And I think I will. You know,
I
we'll
would
be fine.
believe that
Yeah.
because if there's no next movie,
don't
kind of.
and Lumberjack don't try to backpedal and apologize now. I still love you though. I still love you. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any after credit scene. I think you know, if what I am assuming is going to happen, and again I've read nothing, but I think it's going to end on a very somber note. So I'm thinking.
What does this mean for the X-Men going forward?
Well, I think that kind of answered that they're putting their eggs in their basket with Jennifer Lawrence Mystique, as kind of like the de facto Wolverine now, like the badass of the X-Men movies, because she's kind of like the point person.
Do they bring X-23 into the fold now?
Well, that's an interesting point because what I did hear is that, or let's just even pose this question: is the Logan movie going to be in the same universe, set in the same universe? Because I don't believe it is. I think it's a separate universe that has nothing to do with.
Because the rest of the X-Men seem to be dead in this Logan movie.
Right. So maybe it's something. If it's a futuristic thing, maybe it's going to be like an alternate reality. You know how Marvel does all these different Earths. It could be like Earth 7250, and this is a thing where all the X-Men are dead, and Wolverine and Logan and Xavier, the last two left, and who knows. It seems to me that from what I'm kind of reading. I forgot the name of the arc, but it's like the Messiah complex. It seems like it's going to have something to do with when Scarlet Witch said no more mutants, and M-Day, I believe they called it in the comic books, where no other mutants were born past Scarlet Witch decreeing that. And then Hope Summers, who Cable kind of raised in the future, was the first mutant born since M-Day, and that led to what they call the Messiah complex. I think it's going to take some inspiration from that, and obviously Old Man Logan, I think is the biggest inspiration. That storyline. Do we have that book over there, or is that not? Or is that not one of the ones you brought up?
There's Logan, but it's not.
Oh, is this it over here?
No, that's Spider-Man and Hulk, isn't it?
That's
So
Hulk
wait,
and
we're talking about a movie that's based off Old Man Logan, and none of us brought in the
Old Man Logan. Yeah, I probably
Okay.
should have did that.
Makes sense. Okay, next time, because next week, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be reviewing said movie.
That we will.
So I'm very pumped. I'm very pumped for it. We're all going to see it this weekend. I'm probably going to see it multiple times this weekend because I want to give it one just as a fan, just to be like in awe. And then I'm going to
Next one to analyze it.
Yeah, and then I'm going to put my critical brain on and be like, oh, plot hole. Oh, that was awful. Oh, that CGI is. Why would I do that? That's so negative. Stop being negative.
Sometimes though you can't help it, right?
Go along
Yeah.
for the ride and enjoy it. You know
I
what mean?
love that image that Don has up right now. It seems very symbolic of the end.
Oh yeah.
I like it. I like it. But this movie, like you mentioned, is going to introduce a new character, Laura Kinney, aka X-23,
AKA Wolverine in the comics.
aka Wolverine now in the comics. So I believe the Don's going to be bringing up a picture. Do we have one of her?
We do.
Excellent. So very cool for those that don't know. X-23 in the comic book, we don't know how it's going to relate to in the movie, is basically a female clone of Wolverine where she has the claws similar to Wolverine, but instead of 3 blades, she only has 2.
She's got them in her feet
And
too.
then she's got the extra blade where the 3rd blade would be on the hand. Those blades have been removed, and essentially she has each one in her, and that kind of permeate from her the front of her foot, right?
Yep.
So her toes and 2 claws in each hand.
And
So
then
this-
has all the same healing and
right.
and
It's
whatnot.
basically a female version. of
But
Wolverine.
also remember a lot faster.
Yeah.
She's a bit faster than him, and I think that's where it's different. So she's got the strength, but she's also much quicker.
So it looks like what they're doing from this movie is she's probably what do we say, about between 10 and 12 years old?
Something like that, yeah.
Rough.
She looks young.
So yeah. So but she's very quiet. She's very stoic. She could be very ferocious. Maybe imagine growing up. And again, I know nothing because I haven't read any spoilers. I'm assuming she's been on her own since she's been a child. Since she can.
Yeah.
So I mean, she's surviving by herself, and now
I
Wolverine's-
did read something where Jackman says like she really kicks butt in this movie, the
and
actress.
that's
and
awesome. See, that's
that
awesome.
that she's really athletic and jumping around and putting a lot of heart into these
That's awesome
scenes.
that she
I mean,
has
look at her face there. Look at her face in that image. I mean, that looks brutal. I wouldn't want that coming at me.
Yeah.
you know.
No.
So, I think it's going to be really good.
She looks like one of
are
the
high.
vampires from Dusk Till Dawn. That's what I get when
Yeah.
I see that face. That's scary.
Yeah, it's
So-
one of those
so-
scary faces.
Casey happens to say that X-23 is her spirit animal.
That's awesome, Casey.
So you know Casey.
I do.
How
Casey's
true is
awesome.
this?
Yeah, Casey is like definitely like an X-23. She's a Wolverine-esque type chick. She's a hell of a gamer too.
Awesome. See, well, I'm glad Casey's here weekly now. She's commenting.
She is.
weekly
Casey
and-
is a very big supporter of not only Free a Geek but Geekasmic. Casey is like, you guys, we need to get Casey on the show.
Wait. You mean Geekgasmic? That's the video game streaming. Twitch and Facebook. It's Geekgasmic with 3
with 2 3s.
G33
That
that I'm
one.
not going to mention because Lumberjack insulted me.
Oh, lumberjack.
I'm very excited. I don't know much about the antagonists here. I know it's
Well, think about it. Whenever we get into like these talks, you guys have completely run the comic aspect, but for me, it's the '90s cartoon. When the Phoenix kind of lost her memory and was taken with that group of enhanced individuals, which I want to say there were some mutants in there, but it seems like from what I'm seeing in the previews, these are the same guys, just in like the cinematic universe now. Like, because when Wolverine pulls out his claws and the guy's like, "Oh, you're not the only one in
yeah, and I believe that's Donald Pierce. I believe is the character.
Is the actor?
No, I believe that's the character he's playing, which is one of those gentlemen.
like Brotherhood or something."
Yeah, it's
or whatever.
oh my god, that's not like the Hellfire Club, but like a
Something.
I think Donald Pierce was part of the Hellfire Club. I'm gonna have to look that up now. But yeah,
Nice.
keep talking.
But no, I mean, I feel like these like villains aren't just coming out of left field. You know what I mean? I feel like they're not throwing in like, "Oh, this is who Wolverine's gonna go up against." Like what they did with the Wolverine movie, and they made Silver Samurai like this completely not what he
Yeah.
really was, and like I didn't really care for that. I feel like with
I
this
didn't really
movie-
care for that movie.
No, you know what?
A lot of people didn't. I think you and I went to see that, didn't we?
This was the Wolverine. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of it.
I mean, like I like the fight on top of the train, and like
Yeah.
the funeral battle. But
Yeah. I don't think the Wolverine movies were even Origins wasn't really.
no,
I mean,
can't-
it had some good scenes, but it wasn't.
I liked Gambit.
Yeah, I
I
think
like
I think Deadpool kind of killed that movie. The version
Yeah.
of Deadpool there.
I will say Gambit again. Going back, you say I want to take some umbrage with this too. You said that you're the expert on the '90s X-Men cartoon.
I would
I'd put myself in there too.
Okay.
Just so you know, Gambit. The cartoon is what got me into Gambit and loving Gambit as a character.
Yeah.
Because I was young and Gambit was the cool one. Everybody loved Wolverine.
So hold on. So you're an expert. You're an expert. Maybe we should have a little
Expert off.
competition. Yeah.
So
On a future show.
okay, so here's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to come up with the questions.
Yeah, because I don't. So
And
you
do-
guys don't know the answer.
90s X-Men Jeopardy.
Ooh,
Yeah,
we'll
something
do
like
a
that.
whole bit for that.
We could
Yeah.
definitely do it.
I would love that. So Boyd Holbrook is playing a character called Pierce. So if it's Donald Pierce that I'm thinking of, I believe he was part of the Hellfire Club.
That's awesome.
I'm going to confirm that, but yes. Going back to that though, the villains, I think, this future that we're going to be set in here, where Logan is feeling old, his bones, whether his healing factor stopped work, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Where he's got all those scars and stuff. We've seen the previews. Xavier looks like he's on his way out.
Looked like he was a little senile.
Yeah.
And John just mentioned John Van Damage there, our buddy, or I like to call him JVD, refuses to acknowledge him as Deadpool.
Oh, I hear you.
Is
how I felt, too.
JVD Mr. Thursday Night?
Although
He could be. He could be.
that was still
We need to
Ryan.
get-
Although that was still Ryan Reynolds.
That was still Ryan
So
Reynolds.
it opened the door.
I liked him as Wade
Which
Wilson
was-
in the
yeah.
beginning, in the elevator scene.
I know.
Yep.
he
Amazing.
kept- oh, come
Yeah.
out with the swords.
Yeah.
That
So-
was awesome.
Yeah, it opened up that door at least.
But going back to the whole Gambit thing, I liked seeing Gambit on the big screen. I wasn't as big of a fan as the actor playing him because I felt like the accent kept coming and going.
In and out. Yeah.
And I'm curious to see. Thank you, John, again. So we got to get John back on the show. John
Yeah.
was one of our original 5 guests, I think.
Second episode.
Second episode. So we
second
need to
or
get
third
him
ep-
back
third-
on. Well,
second or third episode.
John, we're gonna have to work something out with you and
Yeah.
get you back on here ASAP. But yeah, he corrected me. He confirmed it. He was a part of the Hellfire Club, X-Men 132. And John came back again saying Blade 3, Ryan Reynolds is more Deadpool than Wolverine Origins.
Yep.
So I love this. See, I love this, these not viewers, but this community, for lack of a better term, that we have with these friends of ours that help us out with these things, and I love it.
I got a comment
Go for
to Casey. Not only was Ryan Reynolds 2 superheroes, but I mean Captain America and Johnny Storm.
Yes. So,
Yep.
oh my God, what's his name now? Chris Evans.
Chris Evans.
Chris
and,
Evans played.
And he was in The Losers.
Yeah.
And he was in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Yeah.
These are all comic-based characters, and he was in all 4 of those.
Also, Brandon Routh played Superman in Superman Returns, and he plays the Atom on Legends of Tomorrow.
that show.
Which that's the one reason Don and I aren't best friends. But so yeah, there's been multiple different actors playing different superheroes. But yes, I think Chris Evans is the most notorious one playing, two Marvel heroes. Because
he did
Reynolds
good.
played Green Lantern and he played Deadpool and he played in Blade 3. So another 2 Marvel movies.
You know what?
but
I really the Wolverine character. One of the things I like about what they always do with him is here's this really BA guy that nobody can stop.
I like how you say BA and you don't say
he's-
badass.
He's cold. He's distant. But throughout the comics, throughout shows, throughout movies, I always love how they pair him up with a female character to look
Softens him
out
up.
for,
Yeah.
to soften him up, to see the soft side. Because we're Kitty Pryde,
Rogue.
Rogue, Jubilee,
Yeah.
and Laura Kinney. So, I mean, and I'm sure that there must be another one. But I think those are the 4 that really stick out in my mind.
Yeah.
But it's always the big brother protector kind of role that he falls into. And I always found that intriguing about him, how they have this hard character and we get to see his soft side. And I like seeing that they're doing it. I'm sure we're going to have, for all the violence and craziness we're going to have, there's going to be some of those soft moments. I have a feeling you're going to see something like that at some point. But I think that's what I've always loved about the characters is you get to see that big brother side of this just BA guy that just doesn't take no crap. So yeah, I mean, I think it's why he's one of my favorite characters. He's very what's the word I'm looking for? Well, diverse in his his.
As long as you don't
feelings
say
and-
endowed, I'd be cool with that.
Where does he stand as far as? And I'm not looking for a whole top 5, top 10, or whatever. But where does he stand as far as you guys, both of you, same question, your favorite character? Like, is he top 3, top 5, as far as comic book characters?
He's number 2 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Wolverine, I'd say top 5. I don't
Yeah.
know. where-
I'm not asking for a whole ranking, but for me, probably top 5, too. I mean, I don't think there's any way around that.
I mean, because Wolverine is kind of like the version right now. I mean, it might have changed a little bit from the comic book side, but like he's kind of like the Batman of the Marvel universe, and the fact that he's everywhere. Like Batman,
Yeah.
any team you put on, Batman's like going to be
Yep.
part of that team. And I think Wolverine, because there was a time where he's leading the X-Men, he's having his solo
New Avengers.
He's on New Avengers.
Alpha
He's
Flight.
X-Force.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like, but I mean, he's doing like 4. He's on 4
Different.
teams at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, where do
And
you
Batman's really like the only other character that you really see that with, where he's everywhere.
Right. I mean, they do like Superman a little bit's got his own title in Justice League, but it's like you got like Batman, you got Detective Comics, you have
Now the Justice League of America now.
Justice League of America,
time.
Justice League,
Yeah.
and I already mentioned Detective Comics, but yeah, he's doing a little bit. He's kind of everywhere too. So I
Yeah.
think Wolverine's that way. But I think as far as
A lot of guest appearances.
popularity, I think
Yeah.
he's definitely top 1 or 2 in Marvel Comics.
Definitely.
So while we're doing that, and we don't really have a countdown this week, but I do want to kind of ask, between the 3 of us, any specific favorite Wolverine movies, moments from either the movies, the cartoon, the 90s cartoon, the comic books.
The first one that comes to mind, and unfortunately I have to curse here.
No, just say the letter that the curse starts with.
Just you're a D.
Yeah.
What do you
When they think that Mystique,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah. How do I know it's you? You're a D. And that just it's that kind of humor that sticks out to me with him. I think it was it X2 or X3? I think it was it X2 where they're at is it Iceman's house with his parents and the cat scares him and he like goes to claw the cat and the cat's like
That's
licking his paw. His
super
paws.
unrealistic because the
But-
cat would cut its tongue.
But it was funny. Like those little comical moments stick out with me the most.
What
with
about
him
the
in those
battle
movies.
in X2 when Stryker and his men kind of storm the X Mansion and Wolverine's like battling everything?
Yeah.
That
was,
to me shows me how ferocious and vicious Wolverine could be.
And I did, even though the scene was a little awkward, the Weapon X scene in the last X-Men movie in Apocalypse with
Yeah.
Jean Grey, like
Oh, yeah.
when he busts out of there as Weapon X, like that scene to me was like, wow, like that. We went all the way back to the past with that scene.
That was
So
crazy.
late, yeah. That's one of those moments that sticks out in my head too. And Days of Future's Past. I mean, he was the center point of that. Although he wasn't really as vicious in that movie as at other times.
Yeah.
He was kind of just the driving force,
In all of them, really.
And I guess the other scene, the only other scene that would stick out to me would be the Origins, the motorcycle scene with the helicopter. That was probably the
that's
intense
kind of
scene.
actually very apropos
Yeah.
because Casey just mentioned that same scene.
Yeah.
Some of mine are just more from the comic books and from the cartoon. This one's for you, Morph. I love that scene when they go to the Sentinel base. It's I believe it's I don't know if it's Night of the Sentinels or if it's the ending of the season 1 where
It's the end of season 1. Night
See.
of the Sentinels, part 1 and 2 is when
Right.
Morph is,
right.
taken out.
Right, and then this one's for you, Morph. I love that. I also love comic books. Magneto ripping the adamantium from Wolverine's skeleton. That's probably one of, as a young child, like when I was reading that, like a 10-year-old kid, I was like, oh my god,
That's so
like, this
graphic
is-
to you.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, I mean, now it's nothing. Like we watch The Walking Dead and read stuff now, but that's amazing. And then after he loses his, I believe it's after he loses his adamantium skeleton. One of the other things that happen that I really like is Scott and Jean get married in the comic book, and Sabretooth at that point is a prisoner. He's got like the whole like Hannibal Lecter thing with the mask on and his claws, and he's watching this thing and he just goes, it's like kind of like a snowy day out, so there's snow on the ground, and the grounds were cleared for them to get married, and he's just you see like in the background, you see Creed just talking. He's like, "Wonder if I could go down there and really mess stuff up right now." And then all you see him get hit from behind, and then when he turns around, you see written in the snow, "Don't even think about it, bub."
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, so you were here. Wolverine couldn't even go to the wedding of Scott and Jean because of his love for Jean Grey, but he wasn't going to let anybody else mess it up and ruin Jean's happiness. And that to me is kind of like more of the Wolverine character, the brooding, the, I can't be happy, but I want her to be happy type of. It's
And we see that with all those female characters that he looks out for. It's a similar thing.
yeah.
So
Yep. Go ahead.
no, we touched on movies.
Yep.
Touched on comics.
You can touch on the
So
cartoons.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
go
my
back to
time
the
to jump on
cartoons. Do it up.
cartoons. So you spoke about that episode with Morph. One of my favorite Wolverine moments is when he actually gets to meet up with Morph, and Morph is under Mr. Sinister's control.
Yep.
And they have the battle, and Morph turns into the Panther, and they just go at it. And Wolverine is just trying to like level with them, and he just can't get through to him.
Is that the same scene where he turns into Omega Red and then
And he
then Maverick and Sabretooth and then eventually into Jean Grey or
He
whatever?
goes through all of
And
Wolverine's
he's messing
hot
with
points.
Wolverine's mind, so it's not just a physical battle. He's trying to get inside his head.
psychological. Another excellent Wolverine moment is when some of the X-Men are captured in the Savage Land, and none of them can use their mutant powers. All the mutants in the Savage Land have these specific, I want to say it's either like wristbands or like necklaces or something that allow them to continue to use their power. Wolverine goes in, teams up with a Tarzan type dude. and- Kazar. And I remember, who's the pterodactyl dude?
Sauron.
So Wolverine brings out his claws and he's fighting him, and he's like, "How can you be doing this? You don't have your power." And he's like, "The claws aren't my power, bub." And every time Wolverine's claws comes out, he gets hurt, but still ends up saving the X-Men. The other one with the virus, like the virus that takes all the mutants out and it can't affect Wolverine.
That's one.
They
Isn't
use-
that the time traveling one with Bishop and
Yes.
Cable? Yeah.
I have all these. I
I have
geeked out.
them. I have them too. I didn't bring
Yeah.
them because I knew you were bringing them. But
Yeah.
one of the other points I want to point out in the movie actually that I really like is I liked how they handled the Weapon X program in the most recent. Was it Age of Apocalypse?
Yeah.
That you mentioned.
yeah.
I loved. Yeah, I was too busy trying to share and get people to watch the video to be paying attention. But I want to just touch upon that real quick. That was a really good scene. I mean, they did do it in Wolverine Origins 2, I believe. Correct.
Yeah.
Wipe his memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
think
I
you
liked
heard
it.
you.
I liked it better in the X-Men Apocalypse movie as opposed to Origins.
What is your favorite? Quick roundabout here. What is, in spirit of our competition, what's your favorite character that he's teamed up with, or that he's interacted with?
Cap's my favorite. Them two are my 1 and 2. So definitely Cap. Like the fact that they have, going back to like the war, like Wolverine and him. Granted, they can't do it on the
Yeah.
screen, but he was supposed to make a cameo in the Captain America movie and couldn't do it because of the legal BS. But I've seen it all. It's in season 5 of the 90s show.
Yeah.
They've also teamed up. You guys know I love Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yep.
There was an episode where Spider-Man, Cap, and Wolverine all teamed up, and they went up against Arcade. And there's just
See,
so much awesome.
that's one of my favorite duos. Him with Spider-Man,
That's
because Spider-Man is such a Joker,
You guys-
and Wolverine is so.
You guys are forgetting about the greatest team up that Wolverine's ever had, which led to one of the greatest catchphrases and maneuvers of a duo.
Fastball special.
Fastball special
With
with
Colossus.
Colossus, where he just hucks Wolverine at whatever it might be, and that's just like iconic stamp that happens
Yeah.
in the comics now, and we've seen it in the movies a couple
Yeah.
of times. But fastball special, bub, gotta love that. Gotta love.
And
that.
Nightcrawler is probably another good one too.
Nightcrawler again, just because the levity between the two. Wolverine was kind of the mentor to Kitty Pryde.
Yep.
In the comic book, which they led to kind of like the Jubilee thing in the cartoon. I also want to talk about, and I don't know if you've seen it, and I don't know if you've seen it, but you and I both being fans of the animated series. Did you ever see the initial animated series, Pride of the X-Men?
it's a 1 episode thing.
It's one episode. It was a movie that was done. That
Oh
was
my
supposed to
God. I've seen that. That's what made me love X-Men. It's the girl who can phase through walls, isn't it? Kitty Pryde.
Yeah, Shadowcat.
Yeah, and she keeps going into like everyone's bedroom. Then she ends up in the war room.
Yep.
Oh my god! Of course I've seen that.
Well, I don't know, but that's what also spawned that video game that we talked about a few weeks ago with the Dazzler and
Yes.
Nightcrawler and whatnot. That's what spawned that video game. That's why Wolverine.
Jay Free can never leave Dazzler out of. Anytime he can drop Dazzler,
That's his
he
favorite
drops
character.
Dazzler. I think he had a Dazzler poster in his room. He probably still
on the
does.
side of his gem poster.
I think he.
That's truly
I
outrageous.
think he has a picture of Dazzler in his wallet. Let me see your wallet.
Oh man.
I know that scam.
Did you ever watch Wolverine and the X-Men?
The cartoon. I've
Cartoon?
seen episodes. I haven't watched it religiously.
All right. Well, there's only like one season. It's
Okay.
it's a quick watch through. It's really good though. It's really really good.
Well, I just wanted to point out, going back to Pride of the X-Men now, because I want to get back to that.
Yeah.
Pride of the X-Men, Wolverine has an Australian accent.
I know.
Which is interesting because he's played by an Australian man, Hugh Jackman,
Yeah.
in the movies. And I just want to point out, in X-Men Apocalypse, just going back to that real quick, Dazzler was supposed to be in X-Men Apocalypse when they're in the mall and they pick up a
Yes,
CD
that's right.
and
The
it's supposed
CD
to be
was a
Taylor
little bit of a
Swift
drop, yep.
playing Dazzler. So I think
They
Taylor
cut that.
Swift is, yeah, they did cut it. So anyway, that's what I want to say. That's my last piece on the Dazzler for this
Swift.
episode. So going back to do you have a point for the Wolverine and the X-Men cartoon, or just ask me
no,
if I
I
happen
mean,
to see it?
I think that you guys should definitely check it out.
I have it downloaded on my through iTunes, so
Yeah.
I do have it. I just haven't watched it yet.
It's crazy Wolverine taking that role and recollecting all the X-Men after Xavier and Jean kinetically blow up the X-Mansion and like wipe everything out.
John saying it actually, Wolverine and the X-Men ended prematurely.
It did.
I
But
agree.
I for what I get to see, it was really good.
Not that I want to kind of take the focus off Logan and Wolverine, but just real quick, what I've been getting into recently through Netflix, Young Justice. Look at the look. They're doing season 3. They're doing season 3. So,
Oh my God.
all right, fine. All right, I just want to point
No,
that out.
it's
I'm excited
no,
for that.
it's awesome, but I can't like. There's something about certain DC aspects that I just cannot get into.
It looks very generic to me.
They do like
It's like it looks like just a young generic Justice League, and I'm like, it doesn't appeal to me.
I don't even know. Like I will randomly watch like Teen Titans and be like,
You ever watch Teen Titans Go?
I'm like, yes,
It's hilarious.
It's
actually
funny.
hilarious.
Like I don't know what it is. I like the grown up aspect of DC animated.
Yeah.
I don't like when they try to hit you with too much kiddie stuff and make it
Yeah.
all soft. I want like the grittier stuff from DC because of what I got from DC with Batman the Animated Series.
I'm trying to recapture.
I agree.
that
I agree.
from
And I just want to quickly point out to John that he already played Bolivar Trask. Peter Dinklage did. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he can double as Wolverine, but that's a retort to the Lumberjack saying Wolverine's like 5'4" and Hugh Jackman is 6'2". I agree. That's the only thing that's
Yeah.
off about the character is the height. But so neither of you guys like Young Justice, right? So join us next week when I will be the only host of the For Your Geek. Don, I'd like that shirt back, please.
He's talking to himself.
Yes. So just wrapping up, we're going to be super excited to see Logan.
Yes.
It's dropping tomorrow.
Yep.
Technically,
Technically
tonight.
today, but
I'll be seeing it tomorrow. I know you'll be seeing it this weekend.
Sunday.
we'll be seeing it
We'll be seeing
tomorrow.
it tomorrow. So next week, next Thursday. Today's what, the first or the
Yep.
second? Today's the second?
Second.
Today's the second. So on March 9th at 6:30 p.m., we will be giving you, we'll go light on the spoilers maybe, depending on who's seen it, but we're going to be reviewing the Logan film. And I don't know what we're doing for a countdown yet, but we'll do something there. We'll do Wolverine something, maybe greatest movie endings or something along those lines. We'll figure something out. But before we head out of here, let's do the Batcave special here. So let's plug our stuff. Don, since I can't say anything about the Lumberjack, why don't you go ahead and say your thing?
Shout out to the Lumberjack in Geekgasmic Gaming. That's G33KGASMIC. I spelt it right again. Check us out on Twitch. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Facebook Live. We're going to be doing Horizon this week. Shout out to everyone at Tap House. Love my people at Tap House. Tap House, Tap House, Tap House.
Smoking guns.
I also want to say, I'm not gonna, I don't want to give away everything here, but when you do check out Geekasmic, they have a contest going on their page that you should check out their page because it's a really good deal. And just that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna
all
leave the
we're
mystery there.
entitled to say.
Yeah, well, and that plus they have a cool contest going on their page, so check them out. I think it's going to be worth your time to at least check out their page at least once and check out what they do. They do some really good stuff. And Tap House is great food there. We want to thank our sponsor, as you see on your screen, Pachico's Furniture. Scrolling around here, if you need help moving, they have really good rates. If you need professional movers, if you're looking for some furniture, some great quality secondhand furniture, check them out. They've been a sponsor since day one. Great sponsor here. KB, why don't you give some more
Covers of the week. Facebook?
Covers of the week on our Facebook page, For Your Geek Podcast.
Twitter, YouTube.
For Your Geek. So basically on the Facebook page, though, we do Covers of the Week. KB chooses his favorite.
Marvel. You got DC.
Thank you. Also check out our Twitter. I've been tweeting a lot on For Your Geek.
Tweet.
Ming Chen liking our stuff, sharing our stuff. He's been a friend of the show. You know him from Comic Book Men. Who else do we...
Raphael Sadiq.
So I am not a music guy. KB's a music guy. So somebody's been liking
if you remember a group called Tony back in the 90s, he
It
was a
feels
member.
good.
He was a member of that group.
He's he's liking our stuff. So that's kind
That
of
is
cool.
awesome. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I listened to that song.
So yeah, because I've been putting up. I have a page a day.
Yeah.
All right, we don't want to. We're
All right,
losing
let's
It's gonna
viewers.
turn into a musical.
Yeah.
the fact that he's liking that stuff fires me up because I'm a Tony fan.
Yeah.
I actually, oh man,
He
what's
did
the
a lot
Tim-
of music with West Coast rappers too, like Snoop
Yeah.
Dogg and people like that. So yeah.
And we also want to just real quick before we head out and we hit him with the catchphrase.
Love you, man.
Yeah, just a couple people commenting: John, Matt, Casey, Lumberjack, Johnny Leather. Was it Brian? Your buddy Brian?
Brian Cavallo, good dude.
You know, everybody else that commented. If I didn't call you out, I apologize. I just might have missed it scrolling. But thank you all for watching.
Yeah. Thanks for the support.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Thanks for listening. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep trying to do new things with the monitors and other swag that we're bringing in. Again, check out the contest that we're doing. The bracket will be up tonight on the website of For Your Geek on Facebook, For Your Geek Podcast. Choose who you want. Choose your initial team that you think is going to go all the way, and then vote on each matchup. Let us know. We're going to add those all up in the comments, move those teams forward. Probably, I'd say Wednesday, midday or night. I'll tally those up when I get home from work, and we'll move on to the next bracket, the next round
phase.
next week, and we'll keep moving them forward. So until next time, gentlemen, hit them with the catchphrases.
Start your weekend with your geek friends.
And get yo geek on.
You just made everybody deaf. Goodbye, folks.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.